Heyo, lovely people! It was a little bit of a quiet month, but here we are in December, so I thought it was about time to catalog all the changes we got over November. This time, I'm going to start by saying, I don't usually mention the fact that costumes are released every single week, but I am going to do it today. It is what it is. They're just cash shop items, but there was one added in November I really like, so I'll be looking forward to it finding its way onto Paragon as well. Enough of that though, let's get to the meat of the month. Our pal Aileen is back. Make sure to grab your experience buff before you do your dailies, or take the chance to make the most of your main quest if you've fallen behind on it by grabbing her 6-hour buff from Navia by the fountain, or Port Scandia beside the first NPCs you talk to. Ancient Cliff Temple Nightmare is also back. You can get mounts, eternal accessories, Amaterasu and Arms Animas, though that's only from the party mode boxes, and the Ancient Temple Nightmare Certificate. It's just armor piercing, and it costs 1,500 J to buy and fuse, with a 25% chance of success. So, not really sure if that's worth it. Bonds are all back. They took some out for a while, and I believe the intention was to only have some of them at a time, but they're all here, plus 2 new ones. First up, Robobond. Came in late October after my last update, and it's accessible at Alabastron Temple in Crescent Hill. It's the first of the S20 Bond dungeons, and the boss has a pretty overpowered mechanic where if he kills someone, he puts an electric field on the ground that does extremely high dot damage for around 60 or more seconds. On release, it seemed to trigger even when he just killed one of your eidolons, but I think that may have been adjusted. When we run it now, we always trigger Persephone right when the boss spawns, but one time I was pretty sure he got my eidolon and it didn't trigger. Let me know if you can confirm that. And of course, I've got a guide out for it to help you face it down. If that's what you need, make sure to check it out. Next up is the Plague Bond. You can access it at Cadilla Fellwood in Emerald Marsh, and I've got a guide for it too, but I just want to say, I hate those moles. I hate those moles. By blonde, I mean the pure white ones, not the tan ones. Plus, those freaking moles like to hide in the walls and walk out just after I've told my partner the wrong number. Down with moles! It helps to have your draw distance as high as possible. Anyway, I have a guide for it too. Don't forget to transfer your plague! And continuing the trend of dungeons that make us suffer, have you tried the Lightning Abyss? Gotta say, not a huge fan of having my skill sealed. With the nerfed immunity skills from eidolons, it's a little extra painful. It was actually while I was running that dungeon that I realized they extra nerfed Abe no Seimei specifically, and you can tell since I added this little mask for Halloween and haven't taken it off yet, I really like him. Anyway, he has only debuff immunity, but also has a very short cooldown. I think it wouldn't have been an issue if the can't use skill again debuff matched the minimum cool time of that skill at max speed, because that prevents 2 Persephones trading permanent immunity. But Abe was made to have a low cooldown and doesn't even block damage, just debuffs. For other eidolons, it prevents a party from abusing a skill over and over. For Abe, it's just a straight up nerf. I think Abe's buff skills should either receive a length and cooldown time increase to match the debuff, or have an extra effect added for the current 5 seconds, and again, increase the cooldown so your cute little Abe can't reuse the skill uselessly while the block is active. Anyway, moving along, we had new oddities added to the first 4 maps for Nunchaku and Starcaller. I made guide videos for those as well, with the new ones right at the start in case you struggled with any of them. There's some good news and bad news about oddities though. The good news is that there are even more of them coming. The bad news is the reason why I know that is because when I was trying to help a player with the low-level oddities medal, those oddities that aren't in the game yet have already been added to the achievement. So expect new oddities for old maps like Port Scandia and Crescent Hill, but also if you don't have the medal, you'll need to wait for the release of those oddities to get it. Now, I used to make shorts when new eidolons were released, but sadly as a free-to-play player, I have to get pretty lucky to get my hands on new eidolons right away, and making shorts without any in-action footage is pretty sad. On the other hand, I have at least a chance since they started releasing the new eidolons in Paragon as fragments and eggs instead of cash shop now, which I think a lot of players appreciate. So let's take this opportunity here to light touch on the new eidolons. Starting with Gaia, she's got Holy Damned Stars, and you can upgrade Genesis Sky Phenomenon to get a 25% received damage debuff, and a 30% holy damage received debuff, and a 50% speed. It looks like it would be basically 100% uptime. That being said, her buff skill is an increase on your 6 stats and physical damage, so you're kind of split over 2 elements, and the upgrade buff on World Initiating Heavenly Spear is only her own holy damage. Then we have Jormungand, who looks a lot like Ayako and Tyr, and that kinda scares me, but let's not get into that. This neck doesn't look like the best storm on-field eidolon. Sniper Storm only improves their own storm damage, and then their buff skill increases detail damage cap by 20%. I doubt that's the best buff for players in most situations due to diminishing returns, unless you're fully overcapped on both your elemental and detailed damage. That's 300%. That's about it for major updates, so as usual I'll end on a personal note. First off, thank you for 500 subs. For anyone who missed the community posts, it was a quiet month because I got really sick, and then I got sick again, and then we hit 500 subs and I wasn't done writing the short story I was planning to release for the occasion. But it's out now. Check out my community tab for a link to a little isekai story that I wrote that ended up being a lot longer than a short story. It's appropriate for all ages, and though I did post it on Wattpad just because it's a system that is well suited to uploading writing, I'm not a fan of that website. The PDF and EPUB downloads will be available this week. I will be linking to the downloads on my Ko-fi page. I don't like to mention that because I don't want to sound like I'm asking for donations even though I have made it available. The donations are basically just used to buy coffee, and a couple people asked if there was a way that they could send me coffee. That is the reason why I opened it. The downloads there will be free for anyone, no contributions of any kind required. I found that the community tab for YouTube is hard to access on mobile, and even I can only find it on my backend page. But also, if you really do want to support me, all I ask for is a like, a comment, maybe a sub. And I basically always forget to say that too, because I'm the worst at YouTube. Oh, and the newbies guide with everything I learned from my stream sessions on Scrub is planned for next week. But that's basically all I've got to say for today, so thanks so much for watching, and we'll catch you next time.